Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Okay, Punjab, let's see whether this works.
Thank you, Swamiji. Ganpati, or just take
From this, yeah.
Tanno Mitra Shamvarnaha Shanno Bhavatpajyama Shanna Indro Brihaspatihi Shanno Vishnurukrama Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Eva Pratyaksham Brahmadi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Hridam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tadmavavatu Tad Bhaktaram Avatu Avatu Mam Avatu Bhaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Good. So now you can hear what the authentic chanting sounds like. Okay. I am not the person for chanting. Okay. All right. Then we saw that meditation with respect to Adhyatmam also, right? Last time? Adarahanu, Uttarahanu, all that. Upper jaw, lower jaw.
Yes.
Okay. So, when you're looking at all of them, am I revealing all the meditation that is there? No. Okay. I am not. I am just giving you all insight into one or two, because these are all preparatory meditation. They are very powerful meditation, but some of them can be done only if you know a little bit more about energy work, little bit in terms of the nadis, which we are not focusing on in our teaching of Vedanta in the modern world. Even many traditional acharyas, they don't. Can you all please mute yourself? Or maybe I should mute. Panchavocation, next chanting you will have to unmute yourself, okay? Yeah. So even traditional acharyas and this thing and all don't teach all of them, because now you have other meditations to do. I just gave one or two samples thing so that you will understand what it is about. Okay. Okay. Because some of them can be practiced, like even that intimacy practice, Mata Uttarupam, Pita Purvarupam, all that. Even there, it's all connected with energy work. Yeah. But people are not familiar with the energy. People are not familiar with the channels. If I ask anybody, he will say, yeah, Swamiji, Sahasradhara. Or something like that they will talk about. Okay. And if I am going to teach you all this, I need to personally monitor everyone. Okay. Personally monitor in terms of seeing what's happening in your body, because certain changes will happen. It can go either way. So I have to be careful about that. Online, to forget it. Okay. Yeah, Karthik, you had a question.
Swamiji, this was related to, in the last class you had talked about the vulnerable child.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to, narrow down on exactly what makes me vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I found that many of the vulnerabilities are that I have picked up actually not in childhood but later on. So I was just trying to understand the significance of why you called it vulnerable child.
Yep. Because when you are talking about the vulnerabilities that you have picked up in life, there are certain insecurities and fears. And each one will have their own set of insecurities, fears. Some of them will be common, because as human beings we are common. Loss of life, loss of money, loss of name, fame, honor. These are common because these are as human beings. And if you love someone or something, then that also makes you vulnerable because you're afraid of losing them. That's an insecurity and a fear. That is not the vulnerable person I'm talking about, or the vulnerable child. The vulnerable child is that core of your being, like how you were born. That's why I use the word child. Okay? Like when you are born, how vulnerable you are. You are so open and so vulnerable at the same time. So this is not easy to get in touch with. The more you analyze, the less you will get in touch. Because when you are analyzing, the adult is coming into the picture. It is like something like the playful child. All of us have a certain restraint as an adult, right? But sometimes when we are with close friends or someone you love, the playful person will come up. Not the adult playful, the child playful. No? Especially with a couple when they are together. Some sort of teasing, this, that, etc., which for an outsider may look childish. But within the couple, and this mood of the time, it is perfect. Similarly, something will move you very strongly. For no reason, you'll have tears in your eyes and things like that. Something happens. It is not fear, it is not grief. It is your total vulnerability coming up. There are rare occasions. So very few people can really be comfortable and get in touch with a vulnerable child. But that is what you started your life with. No? And recognizing your vulnerability will make you feel weak only if the adult person doesn't know how to take care of that vulnerability. Because when you are vulnerable, you are open to getting hurt. Anything can hurt you because you are vulnerable. And who has to take care of that hurt? The adult person. You. The seeker, the adult, the awareful ego. Ahankara comes into the picture here. That is the entity that has to take care. So if the adult is not well developed, the vulnerable child you can't get in touch with. If you can't get in touch with the vulnerable child, the adult remains stunted. That's why many people say, Swamiji, I understand things, but I don't feel that strongly. Do you love your wife? If I ask most of the people who are 50 plus here, do you love your wife? They'll say, of course I love her. So what actions of love you do? I mean, come on. You are married for 20 years, 30 years. I mean, abhi kya actions? Why? Why? Because there is a certain emotional stunting there. Or you have done acts of love. You came home because you read somewhere it's great to give flowers to the one you love. You came home with flowers and she said, why did you spend so much of money on this? If you look at people of our mother's generation, that is a typical response. The man will never get flowers again. So, to give and receive in this emotional response, both have to be emotionally alive. Got a chocolate for her. I'm a child or what? Chocolate piece. What is this? You should have given it to our children. Our grandchildren were there last time. Last week you should have bought it for them. Arey, I got it for you. Are you getting the idea what I'm trying to say? This emotional opening up. Now, if this emotional opening up is not there, you are studying Vedanta, you are understanding very well. Yes, some then limitless consciousness, all arguments, everything you will give. Make a fantastic presentation if I ask you to make a presentation. How do you feel? They'll come and tell me also, Swamiji, I know, but I don't feel anything. How do you feel? ये सब ब्लॉक करके रखा है 50 साल से. You have blocked everything for 50 years. What are you going to feel? So can you see in the process in the Upanishad, that thing is put right in the beginning. So that the later on feeling question doesn't come up. If the feeling question comes up and you are not exposed to a sampradaya with, you will convert it into an experience issue. When was the last time any of you felt moved by something? Really moved. Some of that is difficult for you to say something because your voice will quiver. When was the last time you felt like that? But Samjay, I'm an adult. Reva de, don't tell me that. Okay. I'm an adult. I've been in far tougher situations, life-threatening situations than any of you. So if you're talking about being a man and manliness and etc., I know what it's all about. Yeah. With women it is easier because they are more nurturing people. It is easier for them to get into be that vulnerable. So that vulnerability to come and to be in touch with, and then being able to handle it. Both are important. If you're only vulnerable, then you will get hurt all the time. Able to handle that. This is exactly what I mean when I say, think clearly, feel deeply. Many of us can't feel deeply. To be able to drop all your defenses. That's why I always tell people when they come and tell me that they want to be full-time seekers, I always tell them, fall in love and come back. Because when you fall in love, you understand what vulnerability is. Whether it happens before marriage or after marriage. When you fall in love, you understand what vulnerability is. That openness and this that comes when only two of you are together. And sometimes it ends badly, or because of some types of responses from the other person, whoever it is, you sort of hide that part. The thing is to be able to take care of that rejection and that pain and still be capable of being vulnerable. It's like people say, no? I went to Kedarnath, I stood in front of that idol, there was a crowd pushing this, that, etc. But I had tears in my eyes. Kidhar se aaye ho those tears? Where did it come from? Because the struggle of going up to there stripped you of all the other things, all your fronts that you are doing. Yeah. And then you stood in front of them. Yeah. Without this vulnerability, the devotion is also only half the job. Yeah. That's why people enjoy Bhagavatam and Ramayana Kathas and everything. A good storyteller can make you cry, na? In these stories. Why? In that identification with your role models. If you identify, it doesn't happen for everyone. If you can identify with that, then this comes up, the emotion, the vulnerability comes up. So we require all these artificial situation to get in touch with what you are. Yeah. Forget vulnerability. Even to open up emotionally, you need a lot of work. Because I don't know where in the Indian culture we have picked up very inhibited behavior when it comes to emotions. Very inhibited behavior. We don't express. The South Indian mamas here. I am saying South Indian because you come from a little bit more orthodox background. When was the last time you hugged your adult daughter? Or at what age she was when you stopped hugging her? Don't answer me, think about it. Don't put on a front and answer me. I don't remember my parents hugging me after I was 4 or 5 years old. And they would get uncomfortable when my students would come and hug me. All of us, so older people, our parents were like that, wasn't it? No? This is where the thing comes. We have somehow become emotionally stunted. And don't tell me this is our culture and everything. Don't tell me that nonsense. Read Bhatta, read Kalidasa, read Bhana, read all the literature available in Sanskrit. Because how will you know about culture? Look into literature. Literature reveals culture more than anything else. Look into the literature. Look into the literature. What is consistent across board is what our culture is. There may be variations, individual, that's the writer's mood, etc. But predominantly what is constant across is this thing, no? Is the thing, culture. So that's where the culture is. Yeah. What is consistent? Read that and come and tell me. Read the Bhagavatam, read the Ramayana, उसमें भी है. This emotional stuntedness, this is what these meditations are trying to overcome. One of the things. Yeah. Any questions on this? I'll try to clarify, but unless one gets that emotional responsiveness, it won't make sense.
Just a follow-on is that, and you had mentioned that it is this vulnerable child who is seeking moksha.
Yep.
So again, just trying to draw the connection between that specific.
When you say human problem, Can you make the difference between the problem of the ego and problem which is slightly deeper? Like food, clothing, shelter is the problem of what? The ego problem, no? The ahankara, the karta. Ego, I am not using the word as egoistic, please don't take it that way. This is the ahankara, the karta bhokta. I have to go find food, clothing, shelter. I have to see that I am safe. From robbers, from dacoits. All this is the awareful ego coming into the picture. Okay. But when I say, in the Gita I use an expression, I got it from my teacher and always use it. The unwept sorrow in every human heart. You must have heard me using this term often. That is your existential issue. The problem of feeling isolated and disconnected. That is much deeper than the ego. You feel it. Not always. Because we escape it. We escape it by putting on some music, putting on some TV. That's why in most houses, music or TV is constantly on. No? Or reading or something. So that isolation, disconnectedness, loneliness, the purposelessness, all this is connected to the core of your being much more than the ego. And that is the seeker. You are seeking freedom from this. No? The ahankara recognizes it. Yes, this is my problem. That belongs to the core of what you are. The ahankara has other problems. Your problem, my problem will be different. Your problem may be how to take care of my grandchild. He is going rebelling and going crazy. My problem is how to take care of this character who doesn't seem to be understanding anything I am saying. So, problems are different, similar but different. That's adult problems. But this core issue. That's why that Ch4 doesn't seize us properly. Moksha milne ka hai. This lifetime or next lifetime, we'll get it. Why do we take that attitude? Because you are not seized by that Ch4. It doesn't grip you because you are not experienced what it means to be really isolated, disconnected. Purposeless, मेरा purpose है ना. What you talk of purpose is what you are going to do. However much I talk about priorities, people still connected with what you have picked up socially. So this core thing, when you get in touch with, then is where it hits you, my God. This is the existential issue of a human being. My heart is empty. I am scared, I am vulnerable, I am confused. That grief seems to be burning up my body. Arjuna in the Gita. Yes, Soshanam Indriyanam. To some extent, all of us have experienced. That's why we have come towards moksha. Very minimalistic. But this meditation, etc., and the Taittiriiya, remember, this is all taught to youngsters. All these are Gurukula Vasis. So, in that case, in their case, you get in touch with it early on. When so much of image building has not happened. As adults, we have got a lot of image to maintain, In fact, we don't know what is our image and what we are. Amanitvam madam vittvam, all that we say in the Gita, na? Amanitvam madam vittvam ahimsa kshanti arjavam acharya upasanam saucham Taittiriiya, Atma, all that, nice, 20 values. I can say all of them. But we all put on fronts to some extent. We have a social image. As long as you recognize just a social image, inside I know what I am. It's different. But can you really strip yourself off? I am not saying something new, I am just putting it in modern language. Those who are there in Chinmaya Mission study groups, etc., regulars. What would Gurudev say about this? Swami Chinmayanji, what would he say? Yaad hai kuch? Those of you staunch Chinmaya Mission members and regular in Chinmaya Mission. Undress and embrace. Remember that expression of his? You have to undress yourself before you can embrace the Lord. What is that undressing he's talking about? Remove all this. It's a popular expression with him. When I say it, all of you remember it. No? Those of you in YouTube, Swami Chinmayanji, you remember it. Yeah. That's the difference. People took it as a joke, I took it seriously and thought about it. Did some reading, did some, and then, this is what he's meaning. That video of him saying undress and embrace is floating around in Facebook, is floating around in YouTube. Today morning I saw it. Someone had sent me some link about something else. I saw that, and then the next one was this one. I said, good to hear Gurudev again. I said, yeah, first time I heard it, I was a teenager. 18, 19. So, all this is there in the Shastra put differently. I am putting it in modern contemporary terms. Itna hi farak hai. Any other questions? Because this part is important. Because we are not studying Taittiriiya Upanishad, we are studying you, what you are. Taittiriiya Upanishad is a basic. Yeah, who's that?
Can I have a word?
Who's this?
What I have.
Narayan, yeah. Yeah.
What I could understand is, this is a preliminary starting Upanishad for youngsters while studying Vedas.
No.
Isn't it?
No. These verses are, these practices were taught in a Gurukulam system in those days. Yeah, but Taittiriiya is not a beginner's Upanishad. Taittiriiya, students were young so that it is easier for them to get in touch, because too much of Manitvam and Dambitvam has not come up.
Yes.
Whereas we are coming to it at 50, 60, 70, 80. A lot of Manitvam, Dambitvam is there.
That I agree.
Yeah.
So it prepares them very well to go ahead and
Exactly.
understand the nuances in the
Yes.
Vedas and Shastras. Yeah. Correct.
And if you are really got in touch with this and you know how to love, one look will convey so much.
Yes.
And the other person also will receive it. One look is enough. Yeah. But we are not into that. Why do you all like old Hindi film songs?
Brings back some memories.
More than memory, it puts you in touch with your emotional being. Huh? What is that, Vartika?
Lyrics is very meaningful.
Lyrics are meaningful.
Lyrics are very good.
And why? Because they touch the emotional side.
We identified with them,
With the emotional side of yourself, which is otherwise denied in your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Swamiji,
Yeah?
Swamiji, when you are wanting to deal with your vulnerability,
Yeah.
you are also having the other side, the other person to understand your vulnerability. How do you tackle that issue?
First get in touch with it yourself, then we'll take the next step. You have to get in touch with yourself. You have to learn how to tackle it yourself. Then you can talk about being vulnerable with another person.
So we are
one second, with a Vedanta student, you can open up a bit. If somebody is not listening to Vedanta and all these things that I am talking about, forget it. If he is 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, forget it, he is not going to change. Unless he looks into his psychological awareness and builds up something. Yeah. Yeah, Shilpi, you are saying something.
I was just saying that when we grow our capacity to hold the emotion, the vulnerability is easier to bear.
Yeah, yeah, true. Yeah. So the whole thing involved in it. And as I said, it's only when you can take care of your vulnerability are you really a strong person. Otherwise, you are not strong, you are defensive, you are aggressive. You are not really strong. You are afraid of getting hurt. You say, I am okay about getting hurt and I can handle my hurt. Then you are strong. Then you are strong. Yeah.
How do I handle my vulnerability?
First get in touch. Then I'll take the next step is the awareful ego learning to take care of your own hurt and pain. I have talked about this a number of times. I even put up a workshop on recovering from hurt and grief. So all those things will come into play. And developing the intellectual strength, developing the spiritual strength, developing a sense of surrender to the Lord. All this will help. All this will help.
Maharaj.
Yeah?
So if I try to put it in my words, it is basically trying to understand the limited nature of this being and seeing where this small thing is in entire creation, Ishwara's order.
To understand the seed.
Like how weak.
How?
Weak.
How weak
body
you
and
are.
mind
Yeah,
is,
exactly.
How weak this body
Not this body and mind. How weak you are. What is that you? Without Vedanta, how much can you go into the you?
Right.
That is we are talking about. That is a core human being, that sense of the jiva. If you want to use a more acceptable word instead of vulnerable.
Yeah.
The jivatvam. What does jivatvam mean? This vulnerability. The sense of helplessness. Yeah, Karthik.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Swamiji, just a comment. For example, many of us in say corporate life,
Yeah.
we are all viewed as by our subordinates as being like big managers and all
Yeah,
of that.
yeah.
But somewhere deep down within, you know that you are limited. I mean, just to follow on to Sanchit's point,
Yeah.
that you are also very limited in what you are doing and what you are deciding.
Yeah.
And but you still need to put up a certain front in front of your subordinates to move things along.
Yeah.
In some ways, in corporate life, that's a way to manage the vulnerabilities.
No, in corporate life, you learn as a student of Vedanta to take it as a role and you wear it as a dress. Manager is a dress you wear. So all that image, etc., is just a dress, and it's just a dress. This is not me anyway.
Right.
Why do in modern people sometimes managers and juniors, after they had a successful project or something, go and have a drink together? And these are practices that people follow, and many of us who are spiritual, religious, etc., look down on these things. But why do they do that? Because after too large has gone in, no image lasts. image chodo. No, it's not graceful acknowledgement of finitude. It is just an acknowledgement of finitude. It doesn't matter if it is not graceful. So, it's a pity that you need a drink to get out that emotional side, the vulnerable side on you. That's a pity. But that's why that practice has come in corporates, etc., because of this. They recognize somewhere it has to be there. Yeah. Especially in certain industries more than the other. Even in IT it happens a lot. In this thing, advertisement, media, etc. is much more. Yeah. Of course, it brings on other issues also which we are not interested in. That is not the thing. I'm not promoting go have a drink. I'm saying get in touch with the vulnerable child. I'm not saying go and have a drink. That's not what I'm saying. I'm pointing out why it has come up. Because people need to feel an excuse to drop your image, An excuse to drop your image. Because otherwise you are supposed to be stiff upper lip, this, that, etc. Yeah. But they're looking for an excuse to drop. Because the next day in the office you can still be prim and proper big boss. Yesterday, that was because of drink here, come on. Yeah. This is one of the points I highlighted in my talk on Guru Purnima Day. Don't replace my words with something else. Understand it as it is, as the word. Because each word has a meaning. And words are deliberately used, not mechanically used. So understand that. You'll struggle a bit, of course you'll struggle. Yeah. If I do this with my youth group, they understand faster because friends etc. are a bit less. Women understand it better. Yeah. Generally, okay, no rule, generally. So that openness, vulnerability, etc. is the core of what you are. Then there, you take care of all that. Then you are strong.
Swamiji, one
Yeah.
question I have.
Yeah.
Is this meditation the main purpose to make the students ready to accept the changes that is expected and adjust himself to the requirements? No.
Why are you trying to impute motives that are not written in the text?
Okay.
Yeah. You get in touch, this is what you are. Now let us develop our adult side to take care of all these also. And look for moksha as the ultimate thing in life. Because what is going to take care of this is only moksha, nothing else. Your vulnerability in psychology can only be managed. In Vedantam, the understanding that the core of the vulnerable being is pure consciousness, frees you from everything. And you can accept that in your life. It flows through because the emotional blockages are not there. Otherwise, you'll have to do years of nididhyasana. And then you'll come and tell me nididhyasana doesn't work. Basic emotional openness, forget vulnerability, etc. Basic emotional openness is not there. And then you're doing nididhyasana to feel. Kya ho jayega? So I'll have to say like the Gujarati, Reva de. Now go to work. And in our modern living, very often we don't have time to get in touch with our vulnerability. We are so busy taking care of things, managing things, this, that, etc. There's no time. But that's where you have to find the time. There are a lot of books written on this also in psychology, if you want it from a psychological perspective, inner child work, etc. You know, getting in touch with your vulnerable child. I have done these workshops. Where is Kamini? Is not there today. I think in the group is Kamini there. No, Kamini is not there. But Joe.
Swamiji, somatic psychology is also there.
Beg your pardon? What is the statement?
Somatic
Yeah.
psychology
Yeah.
and integral somatic
Yeah. To an extent that
psychology,
deals with it.
all of
Yeah.
those kind of books are
Yeah.
also there.
Also there. Jyoti was there. Jyoti Ahuja was there. When I did that workshop of getting in touch with the vulnerable child, and this lady went and hid behind the pillar before she could talk. You remember that? Churchgate workshop long back, about 20 years back. Yeah. Because that vulnerability came up so much, I can't talk in front of people. I had to go and hide myself to talk. I said, where do you want to hide? Behind the pillar. I said, go. And from the behind the pillar, she could talk. So these are powerful workshops available, which is easy to do. People are not attending people are hesitating to attend a physical class, and सबको online चाहिए. Then where am I going to do all this?
It was at Laburnum Road.
The Laburnum Road group was a predominant group, but we did this at Churchgate, that hall. You know, D Road Hall, where that Agarwal House, correct, Bharat Bhai was there. Yeah, Agarwal House. That hall we did it. And those
we did some 30 workshops.
30 workshops are done there. People didn't take it seriously, so I stopped doing workshops.
It's very amazing, you know.
Yeah. True?
Amazing, out of the world.
Yeah. Or come for a camp, we will do it in a camp. Attend class physically, we will do it. These are not things you do online. Little bit, one person at a time you can do online, but I am not going to do with 40 people online, one at a time.
In fact, one camp, only workshops.
I used to do that before, then people wanted some Vedanta also in it. Because, you know, people want to go to the highest without getting prepared for it. Some of all this we know. What no?
The effect, Swamiji, I felt from those workshops was, just great.
Yeah, true.
It brings about an immediate change in life.
Because that is what is supposed to be preparation for Vedanta. Those are meant to prepare you for Vedanta. So grow in whatever this thing. Yeah. That's why don't protect your children from seeing death and disease. That gets in touch with a vulnerable child. What happened to Buddha? That vulnerability came as a shock to him when he saw all that. He got in touch with the vulnerable. It came as a shock. So within a few days he left home because it was shocking for him. Because he is too protected. This is the symbolic meaning behind the Gopika Vastraharanam and all that thing, you know. Krishna stealing away their clothes when they are having a bath and all that. This is all the symbolic meaning behind it. No friends, no this thing, drop. Just in touch with that. Yeah. The sense of surrender, etc. to the Lord. All this helps to get in touch with it. Anyway, shall we go ahead? Okay, Punjabication, the chapter 4, that's the next one, right? Can we just chant? Because I think, huh? Yeah, that first two verses, yeah. Okay.
Yes, Chandasa Vrishabho Vishwarupah Chandhopyot Amrita Sampabuva Samedro Bhedaya Srunodu Amritasya Devatharano Bhuyasam Shariram Devi Charchanam Jibha Madhuvattama Karna Bhyapuri Vishruvam Brahmanat Goshosi Vedaya Pigita Rudam Me Gopaya Avahanti Vitanvana up to this is okay?
Yeah, up to there is fine. We can do that today. Yeah. All right. This is a prayer, okay? This is a simple prayer. Now, why is prayer important? To develop a prayerful attitude. It is this prayerful attitude that helps you be a karma yogi. Where prayerfulness is there means Ishvara is there. Therefore, Ishvararpanam prasada buddhi becomes very easy. Because that's what prayerfulness is anyway. Okay. Can you do it differently? Of course you can do it differently. I was not exposed to all this. I did it differently. But that surrender to Ishvara was there. Yeah. That was high. Though I have said often, I have not thrown a flower at the Lord. Forget offering. But sense of surrender to Ishvara was there. Somewhere from Purva Janma it came in. So it can be done differently also through different experiences. You analyze life experiences, you go through different experiences. Yeah. Yeah, another way of vulnerability. All of us are afraid of pain, isn't it? No, all of us want to avoid pain. We learn to welcome pain. You stand there. Stand and take 10 punches on your stomach. Okay. Painful? Yeah. Accept pain. It is not completely vulnerable self, but it helps you break your defenses. Don't flinch. Don't flinch. Accept. Don't try to accept. Painful way of learning. Yeah, painful way of learning. Or do a prayerful way of learning. You have your choice. I can teach both ways. So take what you want. You want the other way, I'll teach you the other way. Not a problem. Easy. That's what Kavita rolled up her sleeves on that Guru Purnima day skit and said, Mar kaise when he was putting that spoof on Vedanta. Yeah, correct. All those videos are up somewhere, I think. Yeah. Anyway, yes Chandrasa Mrishabo Vishwarupaha. Among the Chandas, okay? Among the Chandas. What is like the bull? Which mantra is like the bull among the cows? Meaning the chief one that stands out. It says Vishwarupaha, that indicates the Vishwarupaha. In other words, Omkara. Okay, this is addressing Omkara. Chandev Vyodya Amritat Sambhavuvaha. Okay, yeah. Okay. And Chandobhyaha, like from all the Chandas Vedic mantras, from all the Vedic mantras as Amritam that has come up. What is that? Omkara. That Omkara stands for what? Not the sound Om. Omkara is a Nama, a name. There is a Nami for every Nama. Nami is the person who is being named. Okay? Like if I say Karthik here, Karthik is not a sound by itself. It stands for a person, a name, for a Nami. Okay? The original one is Kartikeya. Okay? Yeah. Today is Sashti, no? Yeah. That's Sashti. Kartikeya. That's why Kartikeya, it came to my mind. I am wondering why Kartikeya came into my mind. That's Sashti. It has to come. It is in harmony. Yeah. So, and what is that? Indraha Medaya Spranotu. Sa Indraha. Indra is symbolic of Ishvara here. Okay? Indra, there are two ways of looking at it. One is Indra, the Pauranic figure. Indra, the Pauranic figure, is a ruler of heaven, a Jiva who has reached that place. Therefore, he has all the fallibilities of a Jiva. He finds it difficult to keep things within his pants. Sorry, within his dhoti. So those are fallibilities of a human being he also has, because he is the ruler of heaven. But here the word Indra stands for Ishvara. Okay? Here, contextually you have to see it. The word stands for Isha. So me medayas pranotu. Okay. May give me Meda Shakti, intelligence, memory, etc. Intelligence to understand, and Medha to retain it. Medha implies both understanding and retaining it. Otherwise, class I understood very well. When I went home, what happened? Gone. No. To retain. Medayas pranotu. Amritasya deva dharuno bhuyasam. May I be able to, this Amritatvam, may I be able to receive it. Hey, you are Amritaha, yeah, but the teaching is equally Amritam. May I be able to receive that teaching into my life and bring it into my life. Okay. Shariram me vicharshanam. Okay. Hey, let my body be fit. Fit so that, hey, how to study, it takes time. I can't be saying, अब तो बिल्कुल बूढ़ा हूँ, गोली खाकर जीता हूँ. बूढ़ा तो हूँ, but are you okay? Can you hear and understand? Even with some aid, hearing aid, etc., doesn't matter. But can you hear and understand? You may require some help, some aids, like the spectacles, etc. But it's okay. You know, let it be fit enough for this thing. Okay. Shariram mein jivha me madhumattam. May my speech be sweet. May not be harsh and upsetting people all the time, you know. All the time saying things harshly. Even when I say nice things, I'll say harshly. Like I knew this lady. What are you doing? It's 3 o'clock. Have you eaten lunch or not? No. No, ma, not eaten. Idiot. 3 o'clock and you're not eaten lunch. Come, sit, eat. You're doing the nice thing, but in a harsh manner. Yeah, she's being nice actually, but in such a manner you feel like running away, not wanting that food. It's okay to go hungry. Yeah. So okay, there is Jiva me madhumat karnabhyam bhuri vishvam. May able to hear a lot of teachings until it sinks into me, until I cannot but say, yes, this is the truth. Okay. Yeah. Karnabhyam. Brahmana koshosi medaya pihitaha.
What he is speaking, let it be agreeable.
What is that? Someone is saying something. Okay. Brahmana koshosi medaya apihitaha. Okay. Omkara, he says, is the kosha for Brahman. Okay. Kosha iva koshaha. What does the kosha do? It's a resting point for the sword, isn't it? The scabbard. Kosha is a scabbard. Scabbard, the sheath. The sheath is a resting point for the sword. So where will you look for a sword? In the sheath. So where will you look for Brahman? In Omkara. Okay. So for Omkara is representing Brahman. Therefore, Brahmana koshosi medaya pihitaha. All that has to go inside. Okay. Because it says medaya apihitaha. Vijnanamaya kosha seems to be hiding Brahman. Your own rationality, your own thinking, your own conclusions is hiding Brahman from you. Swamiji, I am a thinker, all right. Okay, I am sure I will understand Vedanta. But Vedanta is beyond your thinking as well. It's there in your thinking, it is beyond your thinking, both. Kena Upanishad, remember we saw it. That which cannot be thought of, but because of which your mind can think. So all my conclusions about myself is hiding Brahman from me, including Jiveshwara Bheda. Oh Lord, you are everything, I am nothing. So Medaya apihitaha Shrutam me gopaya. Okay. Shrutam me gopaya. Whatever I have heard, oh Lord, please protect it. Protect it meaning let it remain with me, may I not forget it. What is listened, so that I don't come to every class with a clean slate. Last class में क्या हो गया? भूल गया. No. Shrutam me gopaya, protect. Okay. Then avahanti vitanvanaha, that is for the next sloka. That goes. So what is it doing here? One, recognizing Omkara. Recognizing Omkara. Praying for the knowledge. Praying that you will be physically and mentally fit enough to receive this knowledge and own it up. And recognizing how my conclusions hide the reality from me. So in this prayer, all this is implied in yourself. No? It is not a simple pahimam, trahimam prayer. Those are also important. But this is not like that. This is a prayer revealing what you have to do also. What is necessary to learn. To learn and own up. And how my own conclusions are standing in the way of learning. So in Vedanta there is a lot of unlearning to be done as well. I learn to take the body as me, unlearn. Learn to take the prana as me, unlearn. Learn to take the mind as me, unlearn. Emotion में ज़्यादा problem नहीं है because I am not in touch with them only. So that should be good. No, that's bad. Knowledge, yeah, knowledge. Conclusions, head full of conclusions. If consciousness is the truth, how does this atomic theory fit in there? Think about it. It fits in. Up to a point it fits in, after that you junk it. Yeah. So all this, so prayer for putting me onto Vedanta path. So all these sections, in fact the whole first section is about preparation, attitudes, prayers, getting in touch with realities, all this meditations, all of them. Are in touch with that. So it's important to see how someone is prepared to know the truth. That's why I tell, it sounds like a boast, but it is a fact. With the Shastra, you can take a person on the street. If he has the willingness to learn one quality, forget Viveka, Vairagya, kuch nahi hai. One quality, he has the willingness to learn. That much is there. You can take a person from the street, take him all the way to moksha. Why? There is enough to prepare. Enough material is there. Enough material is there. So when we start full-time courses, etc., we are not bothered about your academic record and things like that. Though in a form we put in all those things so that people feel comfortable. It is a paradigm that they are used to. But what are we really looking for? Have you matured out in life? Are you willing to learn? Have you taken care of your responsibilities? That's it. ये है तो सब कुछ है. Because everything else is there in the Shastra. No problems. May take some time, that's all. Think about all that we discussed today. We discussed a lot more than the verses, but it's important and it's good to know. Okay, good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.